What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Just Another Game Spotlight. Today's featured game is Call of Duty Warzone. As always, I'm joined by my friend and fellow gamer, Victor, and this is a new segment from Just Another Tech and Gaming Show. So this is a segment where we're going to show you some gameplay. We played this earlier today. It was one of Victor and I's better matches. We've been playing a lot of this game, and I'm sure that Victor can attest to that.
Yeah, we've been playing way more than a normal person should, but I ain't complaining.
So this is the newest Call of Duty. It's the most recent Modern Warfare in the franchise, the PS4 and Xbox One edition. Warzone is their free Battle Royale mode, and they have different modes within this. It is a 100 match style gameplay, and it's really interesting. What you could see Victor and I playing here is Plunder. We may comment a little bit on the gameplay just so that you're aware, but we're pretty much just trying to give you our impressions of this game. Now, I do want to mention, although it's not super high octane, we do really well in the match, so pay attention because we know what we're doing, at least in this one. Now, it is really entertaining. I've found a lot of joy from this one. To put it in perspective, the only other Battle Royale that I've played is Fortnite. And in Fortnite, the only modes that I really played, because I played kind of when it first came out, and then like as the season passes started hitting, it was just, kill or be killed. And a lot of times I would just play duos with a buddy of mine. Now here, Victor and I are playing quads, and we're playing the game mode Plunder. So the goal, if you can't tell, is collect as much money as you can. Now you want to try to be first to 1 million, but then you also want to end in the highest dollar amount that you possibly can. Now you can see we're grabbing contracts. You can also do recon. There's different they're all different contracts. We took a recon contract. Usually the best ones to go for are the kill contracts. You want to try to go after a target, and that makes you the most money. Now, it is pretty high octane. A lot of it involves pretty heavy strategy, and I think what makes it really entertaining is that you get to come in with your own preset loadout. Now, we should be showing gameplay from both, but you'll see that Victor and I both start with different weapons, and we're pretty stacked right from the beginning.
Oh yeah, we're doing a great job. We're clearing this whole area. No one around, no one in sight. Just taking all the money we can in this area.
That's the goal, and I would say too that one of the better things you can do in this, and it's kind of surprising because you wouldn't necessarily expect it from a Call of Duty game, but you don't necessarily have to constantly be like killing other teams. Again, one of it is strategy, and like you're going to get in firefights, and they're going to be excruciatingly entertaining. But you're also, set out to get as much money as you possibly can. Now, I do want to warn you, like Victor and I don't do horrible, but we get our asses kicked right here. So just be prepared. We don't come out on top. But
we're not perfect.
Up,
we do die here and there. Yeah.
Yeah, we're warming up right here. So just be prepared for that. I had an excruciating death. I don't know if I show that off or not. To be honest with you, we're watching it as we talk, but we're editing after the fact so that we can make it look like we're better players. Now, it is a really cool game, and it's completely free for just Warzone. The one caveat is that it does take up almost 111 gigabytes of space. That's huge. And I know a lot of people probably don't entirely care how much space something takes up. I do. Some people only have the 500 gigabyte consoles. Some people only have a terabyte, and that's taking up a lot of your space. But I honestly feel like it's worth it. It is pretty fun. I think it's one of the better free-to-play games. There are monetization strategies in this, but you can kind of completely go without. It hasn't really affected my experience not to pay for anything in the game. Victor has a bunch of COD points from previous games, so he has enjoyed the season pass, and my cheap ass has not paid for a season pass yet, but it's primarily cosmetic items. You do get some like weapon blueprints and stuff, so that your weapons are like laid out in a different upgrade system, I think, although I don't entirely know. And like I said, like there aren't a lot of firefights that I get into that I feel like are completely unfair, where somebody else had some gun that was just able to completely mow me down, but I just wasn't able to do so. It usually and generally, and I'm sure you can attest to this, Victor, feels like skill.
Yeah, definitely. I think the skin is just all cosmetic stuff. It's just what what best represents you when if you had a gun, what kind of skin and whatnot. But yeah, it really comes down to how long you can keep your aim on that person and take him down as quickly as possible.
Headshots,
So skill,
that's the key.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and armoring up, as you can see. So we'll explain a little bit of the game as we hectically jump through windows and grab as much cash as we possibly can carry. One of the goals here is to whittle down somebody's armor and then their health. So your health is a white bar, and it replenishes every time after you've kind of been out of a firefight for a little bit. And then you have the 3 blue pieces. Now the blue pieces are your armor, and you want to try to keep stocked up on those. But one of the more interesting aspects of this is that you really have to strategically pick when you're putting those armor pieces in. When there's not a lot of like firefights going on, then you're able to kind of sit back for a brief second, put some armor plates in, again up to 3, and then you can, take a little bit more damage. And it does make a significant difference to have armor or not to have armor. But if you're in the middle of a firefight and you think you have a moment to put some plates in, you're probably wrong. I can't even tell you how many times I've had somebody storm around the corner and I'm putting an armor plate in, like you'll see here if you're watching my gameplay, and somebody just shoots around the corner and just knocks you out. Like, you have to strategically pick it out. And that's, like, if I can only use one word to describe this game, it's strategic. I mean, if you're heavily strategic, you can land on top or place a lot of the time in the top 10 teams. And Victor and I are at least have that aspect down. We may not be first all the time, but we place in the top 10 really frequently now. And you kind of just get into the groove when it comes to that. Now, Victor and I haven't played the Battle Royale mode, but honestly, like, if you never play the Battle Royale mode, it doesn't really make a difference, I think, to your experience. We've had a ton of fun just playing Plunder. And I desperately want them to do a duos. I don't know about you, Victor, but I would love to see them do duos because...
Oh, yeah, I would love that too.
Victor and I filled a squad, and we got an amazing squad this time. Shout out to the 2 people that we're playing with. They were awesome. But that is not always the case with randoms. And I'm sure that Victor can once again attest to that. We've had some, well, let's just say some interesting characters join our squad.
Yeah. To say the least, yeah.
Airport, if airport means anything to anybody, I have no idea why the worst of the randoms always want to go to the airport and just chill and not collect any money. I don't know. That's not the goal of Plunder, but that's what we always
Maybe
play.
because they can't fly now. It's just they're just trying to live it out.
I guess, yeah, they want to go. Yeah, exactly. They're like, I can't go to the airport, so I'm desperate to be there now. That's what it is.
Because I want to wait in long lines and queues.
That's one thing here for sure is like if you don't have a lot of money right now or you're trying to pinch some pennies and you have some free time, which I think a lot of us do, this is a great game to just burn some time in and relax and kind of hang back and enjoy playing for a while at no cost if you so choose. It is a lot of fun, and I think that it's well worthwhile. Now, we didn't describe everything. I think a couple things we're missing is that there are kill streaks, but you have to get them from the storage boxes that you'll see Victor and I opening occasionally. I know you had something to add to that, by the way, Victor.
Yeah, I was just mentioning there's also different types of boxes. There's the orange boxes and there's regular boxes, and it kind of determines for the most part how much money you'll get. And
or how good the stuff is that's going to come out, too.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, it's really dependent. If you want kill streaks, you have to look for those boxes, and it's a really good way to get money from the get-go.
Now, another thing I'm going to really stress, which you're going to see in a few minutes here, is that having the higher ground does mean something in this game. Now, I think in Fortnite, by the way, like just from my memories of Fortnite, having the higher ground is literally everything. I feel like you could have the high ground and have just a bag of frozen peas that you're shooting with straws at somebody and you'd still come out on top versus them having, I don't know, a scar. But in this game, having the higher ground is marginally better, but I don't think it makes a huge world of difference. Now, what you're seeing here is I dropped a cash balloon. All right, and in the cash balloon, you can kind of send some of your cash away so you don't end up losing it. That's one aspect of the game we haven't really fully explained yet, is that you're stockpiling money, and your goal is to hang on to your money. If you die, you lose a portion of your money. And I don't know the exact portion. I feel like it's maybe a third, but I don't know. And that's at least what it feels like. It feels like you lose a shitload. I'll just put it at that. You lose a lot.
Yeah.
Now, another thing you'll notice us doing is pinging enemies. So you like ping the enemy's location, and if you do it well, it'll actually, lock onto the enemy to a certain extent. Now, you'll just see me randomly throwing grenades and doing my best not to go down. I go down pretty frequently, just to, not to brag or anything. But anyways, so here's another instance, like you'll see me plating up, and I had to strategically know that I wasn't just going to be completely just rained on. Now, like another instance of like Victor and I using strategy to our advantage, one guy goes down on the ground, one guy stays up above, you try to mark the enemies for the other guy. And you'll see me kind of stupidly, like if I'm showing my gameplay, I'm stupidly just looking back and forth for the guys that are already gone. But again, like the point is strategy, and if you don't do that, you're going to miss out, and that's what's going to lose you the match pretty frequently. You can also get self-revives, but you don't come up with self-revives, so you got to find those in the storage boxes. It does take a while to get back up, so you're usually going to go down pretty quickly. Your team can get wiped if everybody dies within a certain amount of time, and this is, I would say, my most frustrating aspect of the game. If you notice, it takes a long time to respawn back in. And I was really hoping that, I really wanted Victor to chime in there, but he kind of just gave up.
Because it's so frustrating because it seems like it always wants to spawn that timer right at like 29 or something, like at an extremely high number.
It seems like it takes 30 seconds to come back in, and it feels like forever because your team is fighting without you. You'll notice here, by the way, Victor and I are falling in on our team because we were essentially team wiped, kind of. Because we were separate from our guys, Victor and I are away from each other, so it's spawning us in next to our teammates. And this part, by the way, I think it's in a minute or so, it gets crazy. We're being attacked by these guys, are just running in with vehicles and trying to run us over. That happens in a second here, and it's insane. But that is something that really adds to the gameplay, is that there are vehicles that you can get, and you can run people over really, really easily. And that's the end of your life if you get hit by a vehicle. In actuality, but also in Call of Duty. The best killing weapon in the game is the helicopter, in case you didn't know. Blades be dangerous. But, yeah, guns got nothing on that. I mean, with a helicopter, go down pretty quick, but I'm telling you, you're losing the fight. If you're fighting a helicopter and it's coming at you and you're shooting it with anything, it's going to get you. But you do land in on your team, so it spawns you back up pretty high in the air, not exactly as high as you usually fall from in the beginning. It spawns you pretty high up. It gives you a strategic opportunity to take advantage of the other team because you can come in on top. And that's the best part about kind of spawning back in. Now, you lost your money and you may have lost, the manpower to fight the other team, but you do have the strategic advantage when you fall back in. You have a new chance to kind of land in a better location. Now, it kind of sucks, though, in a sense, because sometimes if you fall in a little bit too slow or if you're trying to pick the wrong spot, you're going to get shot out of the sky. And Victor and I have seen that happen pretty frequently, too. And if you're watching exactly like right now, here's where we get stormed by all the vehicles. They just come in hot.
And I just got run over, like we previously mentioned.
Yeah, I try to pick Victor up. I think I do it, but we get squad wiped. Just as a note, we try our best not to, but you just can't help it.
This is a hot area.
Yeah, and if you notice, by the way, we didn't really pay attention to this, but we were first place, and we're just kind of, we felt like we were just playing a random round. But we were doing really well. And what you can see there, by the way, at the bottom, is that some of the cash is stockpiled. So it's cash that got put in balloons, or you can call in cash drops. Or I guess it's not really called cash drop. I think it's cash deposits. You can call in cash deposits. A helicopter comes in. It takes a second. Those are usually super hot areas. There's like 5 or 6 of them. And you want to try to deposit your money as quickly as you can. Now, in this case, we're going to lose as much money as possible because we're going to get squad wiped. And you can see that we're just getting shot from all angles. They brought in a bunch of vehicles. They just completely decimated us. We lost a bunch of cash. They ended up coming pretty high on top from, attacking us in that way. And then here's what happens. So you're squad wiped. You're in a completely different part of the map. If you see, we're looking all the way on the other side so that we can't really get back there. You could see that we were squad wiped. We were taken down. So it shows you on the map
middle of
too.
nowhere.
Yeah, exactly, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the farmlands. And you can see on the map as well, like if you pull the map up, you're able to see where top earners are. So if you earn a lot of money, Call of Duty rewards you by showing your location to everyone else. So if you're a top earner, you want to try to get rid of your cash as quickly as you can. And that would just mean depositing it. Now, if you're watching, I have no money. Dinosaurus has a bunch of money. And I believe our other teammate has quite a bit of money as well. So you want to play a little bit more cautiously. It looks like they got taken down, but you want to play a little bit more cautiously so you can kind of avoid losing that money. Because as you can see, like, we have a huge gain, like 802,000. Yeah, Victor came in hot. But you can see all the little pigs on the map that it shows. You can call in one of the cash deposits there. And as you fall down, you got to deploy your chute pretty fast.
Yeah, you do.
I always like pull up the map as I'm falling down, and then I end up losing a lot of height. One of the other things that come in too, and they're pretty gnarly, like I hate dealing with them, is the attack helicopters, especially when you're already in like a firefight. And you'll notice, just like in all battle royales, like when a firefight ensues, more teams than you can possibly imagine just start falling in. Like everybody just starts slipping in and just taking advantage of the situation, slipping back behind people. Like that's the goal constantly. And let's see, it's a really good game. You know, I can't really contest it. I'm not a really big on Call of Duty, so I didn't really know if I was going to enjoy this or not. And they gave out Modern Warfare Remastered as part of PlayStation Plus, I believe, 1 month. I downloaded it, I played it a little bit, and I was like, man, I guess Call of Duty's not for me. And I think they even gave out Black Ops 3 at one point, months and months ago.
I missed out on that?
You did miss out on that. And I played zombies a few times and a couple game modes, and like I had a little enjoyment, but I was like, I'm just not gripped by it. But this, I am. And Victor and I clock in, man, we probably clock in like 4 or 5 hours of this a day. It's a sickness,
not a typo.
But I mean, at least right now, we don't really care. We have time, so. You know, and then also you could see a recon contract, by the way, so this is kind of just like a capture the flag moment. Again, it lets everybody in the area know that you're doing this. So, you know, the goal is to try to get you engaged in as many firefights as you can. One thing I think is really cool about this, by the way, is that the map, I wouldn't say it's dynamic, but there's a lot of areas, and they spawn weapons differently depending. I think each time it seems like they don't all spawn in the same location. So, and the same thing with stores too. So the map feels dynamic in a sense, and there's a lot to it. And one of the other things that I think is really awesome is that the map doesn't feel sparse. It actually feels pretty rich. There are some areas, especially on the edges, where you're not going to see a lot going on, and you're not going to like run into a lot of buildings with a lot of, you know, storage caches. But there are still a lot of places like the farmland and stuff where you'll notice there's a bunch of firefights. There's always like cash drops happening, which basically, like, if you take out an enemy helicopter, which you're gonna see, Victor and I end up doing this. We're in second place right now, by the way. We're doing pretty awesome. I would say.
We just hit 1 million.
Yeah, we knocked out the helicopter. I show that we're super close to 1 mil. Now we just hit 1 mil on mine. We are running in on a cash drop because we dropped an attack helicopter, which can be kind of a bitch. But we managed to do it. Now we're capturing the cash. And I can't remember how much it is. I feel like it's 150K. You capture the cash. It can defend you because you'll see that like enemies are shooting at me. And I get us 150K and just dive behind the location. So I get to keep some of that cash even though I only held on to it for a second. We went to 1.3 mil. And we're sitting at first place. There's only 1 minute and 46 seconds left. So the goal here is that there is, I think, a 30-minute timer. But as soon as somebody gets to 1 mil, it goes to the last 3 minutes, and you get 1.5 times everything, which is why I think I got 150K from the helicopter drop, the cash drop there. And
convenient timing, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. That worked out really well in our favor. So we're doing everything we can to clench onto our lead at this point. I didn't think we were going to commentate the whole video, but you know what? We are. And this is pretty hectic crazy, by the way. I know that I get in through the window right here. I go down, our awesome teammate picks me up, and again, we're like clenching on for dear lives. I felt like I had a ton of cash on me. I guess I did have the most cash on me at the end, and really the biggest risk is if I go down in this moment, we might not hold first place. So
Yeah.
I'm plating up, I'm just hanging out inside of a building, and I'm worried the whole time. I'm like, somebody's going to shoot in here, somebody's going to get me. But spoiler alert, they do. But we're hanging on for dear life. This is like one of the most intense moments. Like, you're hanging on, you're just trying to clinch the lead. And there's a lot of high octane moments like this. And I feel like each scenario feels really unique. Wouldn't you say so, Victor?
Yeah, definitely. You just really can't foresee what is going to happen, because if you think you're alone and all these teams, these teams swoop in on your location, it's a hot spot.
Swarm.
You just don't know how it's going to end. It really is hit or miss. Even the last 10 seconds of the game is really like, crucial moments.
Tense, just completely intense. So that's been our impressions on Call of Duty Warfare. And Warzone. I think it's awesome. We ended in first place. Surprise. That was our first time. We got 1.5 million. And we had a hell of a time. Even in the games when you don't do super well, sometimes you feel like they're awesome. And I'd highly suggest it. Victor, what do you say?
Yeah, I would highly suggest it. Take a chance on it. I don't think you'll regret it. It is a big file size, but what you get in return is worth that 100 gigabytes.
I would easily say so as well. So give it a shot, download it. It is free. Take your time, see if you like it, and enjoy. And please join us again next time. We plan on doing more of these, impressions on games, and we look forward to you joining us for those as well. So take care, guys.
All right, see ya.
That's what I'm talking about. Only 1.5 million, man. That was a good game. That's the best game that we've ever had.